This is HOKUM for Punch Out Boxing. Delighted to be here with my colleague Dave JOHAL. Looks like you're living out of a suitcase, just like myself for tonight.
Yeah. I'm in the not so sunny city of Bristol tonight, Rob, for 2 days. How are you getting on? How's London?
I'm not actually in London. I'm out in the Chilterns, a small town here, and beautiful rainfall we're experiencing out here. So yeah, well, let's go into it. This is one of the highest level weeks of boxing we've had for a long time. Tuesday lunchtime, we had the pleasure of one of the best, if not the best, pound for pound fighters in the world, claiming his fourth world title. Inoue made fairly light work of Steph Fulton when a man that was considered to be quite a threat. Did you
What a
manage?
statement.
Yeah, did you manage to watch it during your lunch break?
Unfortunately not. I was tied up in meetings. However, I did see the footage that Carl put on the site, and wow, I've been talking about Inui for a few years now. Just telling people about watch him, and he delivered. Now he beat Steph Fulton, who was a natural at that weight, unified champion. Didn't really set a foot wrong before this fight, but he just got complete. I was blown away by the performance because I thought this would go the distance, with Steph Fulton being the naturally bigger man. But what a performance, and what a way to cement yourself into a new weight class. And it was a punch perfect performance, wasn't it, Rob?
Exactly that. I mean, we did see, I think, splashes of why I thought Fulton could win it, that his defensive skill, he was catching a lot of shots, but just the sheer speed and power just made him hesitant for the entire fight. Couldn't get off any of his own work. And in the end, one mistake, that was all it took. And that overhand right pretty much finished him. He's a phenomenon, is in a way. And the big question now is just like, how high does he have to go before he gets stopped? Because it looks like he's going to become undisputed champion in his second weight class at a canter, because this guy, Tapales, he doesn't look like he's got anything to give him any problems. And then even up at featherweight, I mean, who's got what it takes to stop him? It's going to be fascinating to see how far he goes. But of course, the big question a lot of fans are asking is the next super fight coming weekend. Does the winner of that topple Inoue off the top of the pound for pound list? Of course, it's the fight we've waited probably 5-6 years for, the undisputed welterweight championship of the world. Errol Spence against Terrence Crawford. They finally got it over the line. How much are you looking forward to this?
I'm looking forward to it a lot. I'm actually going to be in Telford on Saturday night, so driving back early hours of the morning after the Queensbury card, putting the TV on for Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. What a fight! I mean, this week Raw has been amazing. From Tuesday, we're getting two super fights. I'm just going to say it straight away. I think Terrence Crawford wins. I've been thinking about this a lot this week, and I'm not saying Errol Spence Jr. is on the decline, but if I had to pick one winner, it would be Terrence Crawford. I mean, they've got some common foes, should we just say, and Kell Brook being one of them. But I honestly think that Terrence Crawford is on the cusp of being not just a good fighter, but a great fighter. What's your thoughts?
You know what? For the last few years, I've always been so high on Terrence Crawford, and I thought he's definitely going to win this. But now that I've seen them face off, seeing their interaction, I just got a feeling now that Spence might do it. I always thought that the after effects of that car crash means he's greatly diminished, and I thought at some point in the fight, he's going to get caught by one of Crawford's counters somewhere around the eye or temple, and that's when the effects of that car crash will come into play. But I don't know, I just get this, you know, this tranquility, this spiritual vibe from Spence, almost like that near-death experience.
Evangelic.
A mental fortitude that he might not have had before. And listen, it's going to be so high quality, it's going to be absolutely razor thin. I'll be very surprised if there's a very conclusive winner. It's the sort of fight that I think will go to a split or majority decision, or even a draw. I think Spence might just edge it.
No, that's a fair analysis. I mean, I agree with you with one thing. I think it's going to be airtight. It's going to be very close. A majority decision, a split decision, a draw. I can all see that. I can't see one person overpowering the other one and dragging it all the way. But for me, I think Terrence Crawford. I mean, if I was just to look at and you know, I've seen quite a few of Spencer's fights, but if I take, you know, the fight with Kell Brook, I actually had Kell Brook winning up until not just the stoppage, but I think Errol Spence took over the last few rounds of that fight, but I had Kell Brook winning that fight. I think he showed some flaws in Errol Spence, and maybe that was, you know, Errol Spence Jr. coming over to Bramall Lane and Sheffield, and you know, the travel and you know, arguably one of his first few fights overseas, that takes a toll, you know, the pressure. But I think Kell Brook laid out a decent enough blueprint to beat Errol Spence. Now, loads of people will disagree with me with this, but you know, Errol Spence closed the night, closed Kell Brook's eye, and finished the fight. But I think Kell Brook was given a fair account of himself. Now, when we look at Terrence Crawford and the caliber of fighters that he's beaten, the manner in which he's disposed of them, the manner in which he's beaten them, it's been quite brutal at times. But he's also showed that excellent boxing display. People first remember him from when he fought Ricky Burns, and he absolutely, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because, you know, I'm a Ricky Burns fan as well, but he schooled Ricky Burns, didn't he? The way he disposed of Amir Khan. And again, this was a Khan that's gone up a weight class and a few weight classes by then as well, and it wasn't the Amir Khan that we're used to. But I just think Terrence Crawford has just got that bit in him to beat Errol Spence. Either way, the fans are going to be in for a fantastic night of boxing, aren't they?
Yeah, I've often been in agreement with a lot of the fight fraternity when they say this is probably the highest level fight in 40 years. Probably the most significant fight outside the heavyweight division in that time frame as well. What would you say was the last fight of this caliber? Leonard v. Hagler, maybe?
Well, you go back that. I think, you know, that for what it was built up to be, I mean, could you argue Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo? Was Canelo the person he is now? You know, when you look back and reflection, you think, wow, you know, Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather and Floyd Mayweather scored him for 12 rounds. Honestly speaking, a fight of this magnitude, they come very, very rarely, don't they? We could be on the verge of an all-time classic here. You know, I mean, when we look back in history, when we look at fights like Gatti Ward, that wasn't billed as a classic. Only afterwards we said this was a classic, because we didn't know what this fight was about. I mean, it was virtually two people at the end of their career fighting, weren't they? But this could be an absolute classic. And you're right about the heavyweight division. I mean, I saw Dave Caldwell about this about a month ago, saying, look, you know, he actually said that fans sometimes are very fickle. All they do is just focus on the heavyweight division and say this is boxing. But fights like this in the lower division is what makes boxing, in my opinion. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's, with all the furore over what's happening or not happening at heavyweight, you know, people it allows, you know, these amazing fights to not get the attention that they should. As you said, I think this will go down as one of the great fights. I certainly don't agree with the idea that it's too late. It's late, but certainly not too late. It's not comparable to Mayweather and Pac-Man, because Pac-Man had shown serious, you know, clear signs of decline when they fought, you know, being knocked out by Marquez. Mayweather retired and come back several times. I mean, these two are still at the top of their game. Yeah,
Correct.
36 and 34, they might not be physically what they once were, but mentally and in terms and technically, I think they've mastered the sweet science. Yeah, they've learned everything they need to know about boxing, even if they're just a shade slower than they were, say, 10 years ago. But for boxing ability, this is going to be just about the highest level fight we've seen for a long, long time.
Absolutely. I mean, Tony Bellew made a fantastic comment in his analysis this week, yesterday, in fact, where he said, there is no wrong selection. That's how good this fight is. There is no wrong selection.
Mm-hmm.
There's fighters that can't pick. You know, when I'm speaking, I'm name dropping a lot here, but I'm just going on memory here. But Anthony Croller, I spoke to him a few weeks ago as well, and Anthony twos and fro's between who he thinks is going to win. His brother as well said the same thing, who's also a fighter now. But honestly speaking, guys, we're in for a fantastic fight. Time is getting on our hands now. Final selections. I'm going to go for Terrence Crawford, and I'm going to say Terrence Crawford by split decision. I honestly can't pick between them, but gun to my head, if I had to pick someone, it would be Terrence. I don't know why, but I'm going for Terrence Crawford split decision.
I'm just going to go exactly the opposite. Spence split decision. I think being the promoter's favourite and maybe with more fans in attendance. You know, he's obviously just down the road in Texas. I think that might just sway some of the rounds in his favour. One thing's for sure, though, that rematch clause will need to be activated. I'm sure of it. It won't be exclusive enough that they can just let it end there. So, all right. Well, Dave, absolutely mouth-watering prospect for us this weekend. Yeah, drink that coffee after the Telford show to make sure you can concentrate. And we'll catch up with you next week.
Yes, thanks a lot, Ra. And we've got a busy schedule again. So just look out for all of our content on Punch Out Boxing, and give us a follow on YouTube, Twitter, and our Facebook page as well. So thank you for subscribing, those that have.